Hello and welcome to another one of my videos. Now today I'd like to take a look at a Latvian ration, and here I have the field ration menu number 4. So let's get this on a table and see what this pack contains. So I now have here on the table this Latvian N.R.4 field ration, and this particular one should be beans with meat. I don't know if you can see the contents there, but for some unknown reason the vendor seems to have scribbled out some of the contents. I don't know if that is deliberate or whether that's just some sort of marking for the vendor to recognise the menu number. But having a look at the packet, it comes in a simple, straightforward black plastic bag, very similar to the rubbish or trash bags we have here in the UK in strength and plastic type. And as I've just shown you, it does actually have a list of all of the contents on the front there, but rather than go through that, let's have a look what's actually in there. And I'm going to bring in one of my old faithful trusty knives just to slit across the top and see what this pack actually contains. So this is a single meal pack, so it'll be interesting to see how much food is actually in there. Let's just get this to one side and see what we actually have. Now, I think first off, this must be the rice porridge. I'll do a proper translation as I go along before I actually make up the main meals. There is a little stove with looks like 3 fuel tablets, a box of matches and an elastic band, so a disposable heating stove. We have a packet of raisins, just plain raisins there. There is a little pack of some rye bread, so a little pack of, looks like there's 2 slices of rye bread there. We have the mains, which is meat with beans, so a nice tin of the mains there. We also have, I think there are 2 packets of jam. We have a strawberry and an apricot jam. There is a little chocolate bar, and off to the side here there's another little accessory packet and nice Ziploc bag, which I suppose could be used for the rubbish or trash. That actually contains a simple plastic spoon. There is 4 Nescafe coffees. That's quite a lot of sachets for a single meal. 4, so obviously like a very strong coffee, if that's meant to be a 1 drink pack. We have a large pack of sugar. There is another large pack of sugar, so 2 very large packs of sugar. Put those one each side there. We have a tea, yellow labelled tea. There's a wet nap and some Power Gum strawberry flavour. So just move the little bag to one side there. Make sure that is the entire contents. So this is the contents of the Latvian N.R.4 field ration. So let's get these on a tray and see what they look and taste like. So as you can see, I now have the contents of this Latvian N.R.4 ration laid out on a tray, and one of the first things to notice is we have a rice porridge. Now looking at this, it tells us that we need to add approximately 100 ml of boiling water and wait 8 minutes. So I think we shall start there because that's going to take a little bit of preparation. So let's open the top there, and this particular one is rice porridge with apples. It looks like it's a freeze-dried rice dish there, and using the spoon that came in the pack, we shall just, as it suggests, just cover that with some boiling water. Give it a nice mix and we'll just give that a few minutes as suggested to come back and do its thing. I'll just clean my spoon there. Now another thing I also noticed is there is no actual cold drinks with this particular menu. There is 4 Nescafe coffees. Now that is, I should imagine, either 2 coffees or 1 if you like it very, very strong. But personally, I usually find 1 of those is enough, so I'll save the other 3 for another day. So just one of those coffees, and it is the standard sort of Nescafe coffee that most people I think around the world are familiar with, and I've just dropped the lid of that into my rice porridge. So let's remove that quickly. And there is 2 large sugars. We only need actually a bit of 1 for this, so just add a little bit of sugar there. That should be plenty. And again, we'll top this about half a mug. No whitener in this particular ration, again in this particular meal. And we'll take a look at the other beverage, which is another hot drink. In this case it's a Lipton's Yellow Label tea, and we'll just open that there, and it's a standard tea bag that we see around the world. And again, get the preparation going. About half a mug. Normally we'd have a full mug, but these little portion teas tend to be a little bit smaller than a standard tea bag. And again, we should just give that a little bit of sugar. So that's plenty of sugar out of the way. So moving on, we shall start opening up the other contents. We'll start off now by having a look at the rye bread, and I'm bringing one of my old trusty knives there to help with that. It's just vacuum sealed, so let's just slit that packet. It does look like there is two pieces of rye bread there, and it has been nicely separated with a bit of parchment paper, a bit of baking paper, so you do get 2 actual slices. Get rid of all my rubbish. We also have some raisins, standard looking raisins. So again, a nice 50-gram pack. We won't be needing all of those, so I'll just take a couple for now and just stick them on the tray there. We have a nice little bar of chocolate. So again, bring in the knife there. Very nice. Looks like there is two little bars. Look very familiar to the Lithuanian chocolate, maybe the same company. We have 2 jams. We have a peach jam. She'll just, looks like that's slid to one side a little bit. There's a peach jam there, and there is a strawberry jam. Typical sort of jams. And last but not least, we have the meat with beans, and I've pre-boiled this. It's had about 8 minutes boiling. Just try and carefully remove the lid without splashing everything, scalding everyone. And I've got a little bit of tea, so I'll just rinse that off. See how this porridge is coming on. That does look a little bit thick there. I think I might give it just a touch more water. It does seem to have rehydrated, but it's looking a little bit thick to me. Let's give that a little bit more, just to soften it and moisten it. Okay, rinse that spoon. Finish making the tea. A little bit of agitation. Get rid of that bag there. And the stir of both the coffee and the tea. So, where do we start? Because I'm waiting for the mains, I think I shall try the coffees first. So we have the Nescafe coffee, a little bit of sugar, no whitener. Standard medium roast. Half decent quality. Some people like Nescafe, some people don't. I actually like it. A well-rounded instant coffee drink that most people will be very familiar with. Let's have a look at the tea. The same, a dark tea, no whitener. Not particularly strong, not very powerful, but with that there's no bitterness. Again, a very typical English breakfast style tea. Again, tea drinkers around the world will be very familiar with that. So let's move on. I'm going to start with the beans and meat. It looks like they are literally white beans and carrot. There is some highly cooked meat there, so let's have a look at that. There is a couple of white beans with a bit of the meat there. Try the beans first. Nicely salted, nicely peppered. The flavour of the meat, typical canned style beef meat flavour, gone through the beans, permeated the beans. A little bit of the meat with the carrots there. It's tender, it's soft. Doesn't require much in the way of chewing. There is another leaf in the background there. I think that's possibly cabbage. So it looks like there is cabbage, carrots, beef and beans. Put it all together. Put that down, it's burning my fingers. Beans still have texture. The meat is soft and stringy, nicely salted, nicely peppered. There is a typical canned beef flavour. Anyone that's into canned stewed beef would know that flavour. That's exactly what it tastes like. But it is helped by with the bulking of some of the beans and some of the vegetables. Nice, enjoyable, very tasty. Certainly going to finish that after this review. Now move on to the rice porridge. I think it's probably had long enough. So it's supposed to be apple porridge, rice porridge with apple. Very bland, very simplistic. It is sweetened. There is a slight taste of apple in the background, but it's very, very bland, very, very simplistically flavoured. Reconstituted nicely. I think I'll try a couple of these raisins. So they're typical standard raisins, decent quality, soft, chewy, not sticky. I think the porridge would actually benefit from the addition of that, make like a sweet, almost like a pudding with some of the sweet raisins there. Certainly does. Certainly helps. Certainly gives it a lift. Now it's like a sweet pudding after meal. Apple and raisin, a lot more flavour to that. Have a look at the rye bread. It looks like it's very sticky. You can see where there is some grains on the end there. It's sliced. Quite firm. Very dark. Very malty. Personally, I'm not a rye bread fan. It's not something that I eat or particularly enjoy, but for what it is, it's a good, decent, malty, dark tasting rye bread. A little bit on the dry side, but then again it is shelf stable, but still good quality. I'm just going to bring in my German knife, fork, spoon set because I want to borrow the knife there. Let's borrow the knife to have a look at this apricot jam. So nice and soft, not overly set. It's quite a soft set jam. Quite tart, not as sweet as you might have thought, what you normally consider a jam. I'll try a little bit on the edge of this rye bread there to make like a little rye bit of sweetness. My opinion, certainly helps improve the flavour of that rye. The strawberry jam, again, not thickly set, quite moist, still quite soft. A little taste of that strawberry jam on its own. That's a good quality strawberry. You can taste the strawberries. I believe I've just had a little actual piece of strawberry. There is fruit in there. And again, try a little bit of the strawberry jam on the rye bread. My own personal preference, out of the two, I think the strawberry is the better of the two options. I'm going to add a little bit more of this peach jam to this rice porridge. Try that. The more flavours this rice porridge can have, the better. It is very bland, very simplistic on its own, so a little bit of the sweet jam there. That is the best addition up to now. A little bit of the sweet plum jam gives the rice some flavour. Little drink of the coffee just to cleanse the palate. And start looking at the chocolate. There is 2 pieces of the chocolate. Nice snap, no blooming, nice and fresh looking. Quite firm. Plenty of cocoa. Difficult to guess at the cocoa content. I would say probably about 40 or 50%, somewhere around about that mark. But that said, that makes for a nice, creamy, melt on your tongue chocolate. The higher the cocoa goes up, it gets more bitter. So there's a nice, sweet, creamy chocolate there. And last but not least, a look at the strawberry power gum. Little tricky to get into. Even with a knife, it's still giving me a little bit of bother. There we go. So there's a little stick of gum. Let's try half of that. Soft gum. It's not firm. Easy to chew. There's no sugar coating. It's just straight to the gum base. But it has got a good artificial sweet strawberry flavour. Anybody that's into strawberry candies, strawberry gummies, that's the flavour of that gum. Very nice, very enjoyable, very refreshing. So, quick recap. Coffee, 4 sticks of Nescafe, standard Nescafe Classic. Personally, I actually like Nescafe. I know a lot of people don't. It's a medium quality, medium roast instant coffee, but certainly would be welcome on a cold day. The tea, slightly lower quality, and the tea still makes a decent, recognisable English breakfast style tea. The addition of some milk or whitener in both of those would have made both of those a little bit better. The porridge, very simplistic, very bland. It's soft. It has the texture of loose grains. Personally, I think it was much enhanced by the addition of some of the fruit and some of the jam, just to give it some flavour. Without that, very bland, very indistinct. With that, it's much improved as a sweet sort of after dinner pudding. Raisins, standard raisins, good quality, the sort of thing that everyone's familiar with around the world. They don't really need much more explanation than that. They are raisins, just of a decent quality. The main dish, this is beans with meat. There are beans, I think that's cabbage, carrots, soft meat. All together, the flavour of the canned meat has permeated the whole dish. Standard sort of stewed steak in a can, flavour behind it, but that said, I mean, it's very tasty. Right amount of salt, black pepper and seasoning. Both jams quite soft but of decent quality. Again, personally, these are only my personal opinions, I think the strawberry was better than the peach, but both very good at enhancing the otherwise quite simplistic but malty rye bread. And the rye bread, it's quite dry, but it's usable, recognisable as a rye bread. Certainly makes a good background for the other ingredients. Chocolate, I don't know if I did the chocolate, I'm starting to lose track. I think the chocolate, estimate around about 50% or thereabouts cocoa. Crisp, soft, when you bite it, it melts on your tongue, coats your tongue. A very nice, decent tasting, dark style chocolate. The gum, not sugar coated, just the gum base with a nice strawberry flavour. So, that is the contents of the Latvian Field Ration N.R.4. So I'm going to leave it here. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe and hit that notification button for future videos coming very soon. So thank you and goodbye.